Well, good evening. Welcome to the March Parish Council meeting. We've got the usual reports tonight from the clerk, from Liam Andrews, our Ward Councillor, and on the Pavilion, as the clubhouse is now called. There's only one planning application tonight, which is for the Furtho Pits development of 9 units at Cosgrove, on which we previously commented, but there are some new papers that have been submitted. The resolutions tonight are to receive an update from Russell on the possible electric minibus service, to consider actions relating to a streetlight in School Lane, and to consider removal of part of the beech hedge in the sports ground to improve viewing of cricket. As well as approving the usual payment schedule, there's part 2 from which the public are excluded, to consider quotes for dog waste bin emptying. So the contract is up for renewal, and for new notice boards outside the village hall. And next meeting is the 7th of April. So that's all by way of an update. Tony, did you have anything? Steve?
You still want some cones? I picked up 6 cones, the same size as them.
Yeah.
Pavilion. They say good.
I think they are useful.
Yeah, I've done nothing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because
They're all over the place if you look.
yeah, I know.
I've got a couple in my garden.
Yeah.
I've got a couple in my garden. I don't have got there.
No, that's the moment today.
If you drive a tractor this high, and all down that 508 with a ditch structure.
Yeah, we don't need to nick them, but but they are useful for the football marshal.
Yes,
actually.
yeah, I've got them up
Just keep people.
Next few
That's
days,
really
I'll-
great. Yeah. Thank you.
There's
Yes.
there's 2 up by my place, actually, where the new sign's gone up.
Yes, I
Those
know.
that were left there.
I thought they might have left that one there to avoid someone else running into it.
They'll probably need them again.
The
then.
bus precariously comes round, and each time on a Friday I'm waiting for Liam to get off the bus. I can see it coming down Bullington End, and he gets so
Yeah.
close to knocking it out once more.
Yeah. I mean, that took an age. I shouldn't really digress, but I was at a Malcolm meeting on Wednesday. I made the Michael Bracey was there, and I said, compliment you on the waste collection service, which seems to have really significantly improved now. I said, but I do have to say that the highways support is very, very disappointing. And I said, everything seems to take 2 years. In fact, one streetlight wasn't fixed until a resident, heaven forsend, actually wrote to the MP to get it fixed. But the other one a little bit further down the road, which has been waiting 2 years, and then everyone else in the meeting picked up and they said, yeah, everything is 2 years. And whenever they talked about a problem, they said, but we'll wait for 2 years. And it's just disgraceful. Anyway, there we go. Sorry, I shouldn't digress. Right, if that's the only matter, let's move on into the meeting itself. Apologies for absence from Kay and Ian, both by reason of work. Declarations of interest, we've got the sort of ongoing ones there for CBSA and CCS. Anything else? No. Approving the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any omissions or matter of fact which should be changed in the minutes? In that case, can I have a resolution to approve? And that's Russell seconded, Dave, and all in favour. Yeah, just sign that. Clerk's report. So if we just open this, do Do you know, I hadn't realised that the climbing frame in the fish ponds had been damaged.
No.
Was it?
Yeah,
If they just fixed,
Nice.
they've just fixed the zip wire and something else, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think it was at the same time, it happened,
They
wasn't
said
it?
about the
It all happened at the
climbing.
same
Yeah.
time.
Oh, is this the?
When the
road-
garage-
Oh, the gouge.
It goes
Right,
down.
okay.
But it's quite deep, it's quite a,
Yeah.
it's a whole length.
Yeah,
There's two of the timbers have been gouged.
was it by been fixed?
Yeah. So they put this sort of very strong tape around it,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I can't believe that would be a permanent solution, can you? I've asked a question. but-
Okay. But the zip wire is back operational now.
Definitely, I've even tried it out
Yes.
on Saturday, so.
Yeah, with your foot. no.
Well, to the grandkids.
So that three or post going up the
Yeah. that's
pavilion.
the one, yeah.
Okay, let's just, are there any other matters in 1 to 11?
Mention the community speed watch,
Yeah.
10.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, so I think we are looking for a volunteer to coordinate this if we're going to run community speed watch in the village. It's been on our agenda for quite a while, but parish councillors have been very fully occupied in the last period. So if anyone is watching and would feel able to pick this up, I mean, it's just really a matter of coordinating when people go out. You do have to do a certain amount of training, but it's all online. I'm told it takes about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
And then you're set to go. You register to input data onto a database which the police hold, and which they use to basically for repeat offenders. So if anyone is prepared to do that, please contact either Steve or Jackie. Okay. Right. Anything on 12 to 15?
Sorry, I've just got one on landscaping. The that's for 12 cuts. Is it, Jack? I can't remember. 10 or 12, 10. And the actual cuts, the schedule is Jordan going to
Yeah, he's gonna get that over to his away.
is going to suggest the best weeks for
Yeah.
the
He's
cutting.
gonna give me a week commencing day, so it'll
Yeah.
be sometime that week.
Yeah, well done on doing that. Good stuff.
He's included the wildlife kind of pass through as well.
Oh,
so,
it's fantastic.
you know, it's
Fantastic.
right, that's good,
Is 10 cuts what we've normally had?
yeah.
10 cuts is what we've had in the past year.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I think that's at least 2 more than Milton Keynes Council are doing
Yeah.
for that.
Because presumably in the height of summer, we don't cut because the grass is,
Yeah,
unless it rains a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there a price for extra cuts?
Yeah,
yeah, we've got
Because sometimes it just doesn't work out. does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, very good. Well. Anything else, or can we just check?
Item 15,
15, yes,
which is the Carrington Arms.
Yeah.
There's an action taken regarding the exterior condition of it. Has there been any progress? It seems now that it's for sale again. Does that anybody
No,
know?
I don't think we took the sign down, did
well, the auction concluded
Yeah.
and somebody
Sounds
had a
successful.
successful bid of
Well,
320.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actual status, I mean, I guess we'll find out in due
Yeah.
course. The important thing is the point of Russell's raised,
Yeah.
which is the
Chase up.
Chasing them.
Against council.
who is Chris Hooper? Is he the, I recognise the name.
Conservation.
yeah, he's the conservation guy,
Okay,
but they said they were just gonna monitor it.
Yeah.
So I can ask him.
There is bits of brickwork around the perimeter of it, small bits, so it's still collapsing.
yeah,
I'll ask him, we're not doing.
So Milton Keynes Council monitoring it on a bi-monthly basis.
Yeah,
yeah. And the highways list, I'm not convinced. Well, actually, I think some have gone, but one just needs to go through it. I see you've got those 4 marked as completed. Is that a typo in the second where it says a 19, or is it a 19? Is that a code for it.
IT couple, this one's been, yeah, no, it should be and.
I know there's a number that you have, you know, where
Yeah.
you progress these things, but, yeah. Okay. Right, well, if that's, that we'll move on then. Ward councillors, Liam.
Hello.
Hello. If you want to pull forward a bit, then.
Yeah, that'd be easier.
Dave, you could swivel your screen round so that residents can see Liam in all his glory.
Right, let me know when.
I think I'm visible.
Got him in stereo.
Been doing that for a while.
I'm sure you're already aware of the update on the temporary traffic lights. The latest we've got from Ian McCord in West Northampton is that they're going to be there until the works have been completed, and we don't know when that is yet. So, yeah, it's just ongoing. It's annoying, but there's not much we can do about it.
What work is it?
It's because the parapet on one side of the road has collapsed into the stream.
Oh, yeah.
And they need now to get an engineer out to understand what structural work needs to be done on the bridge. And then once they've decided that, they've got to find the money, and then they've got to do the work. So this is going to be a reasonably long, I think 2 years might be optimistic on this. And until that's done, they don't want other vehicles coming through and putting.
Yeah.
I have to say, I do wonder, I'm not sure how much local traffic uses that, heavy local traffic. But if it's not used for, you know, our local farmers, I'd almost be inclined to ask for a weight limit on that road.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not too great if the farmers are actually got to move their tractors down that way, but I don't know if they do.
Yeah. Alison asked me to mention that she's been working on rectifying the issue of patients being sent to Northampton instead of Milton Keynes. She's got a further meeting about the surgery being for some reason classed as Northampton. She hopes this will solve the surgery expansion issue.
Do we have any update on the surgery?
That is what she told
That's
me.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep hearing, I mean, I've heard that you know, they're meant to be expanding. There's meant to be some quite big pots of money to allow them to expand. But I've no idea whether they're making any progress on it or not.
It just seems to get stuck every time. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It just seems to get stuck every time. It feels like it's going to move forward.
Yeah.
And
I also hear there's a reorganisation, and I think it is now being merged into a larger practice group. I believe.
maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. No, Alison's been working on it. So
I mean, but in the interim, you know, it's particularly appointments that are dreadful. I believe the pharmacy may have improved, certainly speaking personally.
It has, yes.
Yeah. So they seem to have got that sorted.
But if it's merged into a larger practice group, then the other practices that join are in Northamptonshire, that will probably make our problems even worse.
They do, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I think it is in Northampton.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine any practices around here joining.
yeah. And after the last the presentation last month, I gave the rest of my ward council budget for this year to Castlethorpe and Henslope Scouts.
Right, okay.
So, or Henslope and Castle, other way around.
You should have done it on, yes, it's Castlethorpe and Hansel.
Yeah. We had our full council with the budget meeting last week or the week before. There was just there's an amendment that got accepted that I just thought was worth mentioning, which has asked the council to look at transferring council assets to parish councils on a larger and faster scale. That wasn't put forward by us, but it got accepted by the council leader, so I just thought it was worth mentioning that that's something they're looking at.
Okay. I mean, to be honest, I don't think there are any assets in Castlethorpe that we particularly want to be transferred to us, because it tends to be things like the play areas where the cost of repairing equipment would be really quite onerous for us.
Yeah, that was one of our concerns with it, that we don't want it to just become an opportunity for the council to offload everything onto parish councils.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So we will see well, yeah, it wasn't put forward by the administration, actually, it was put forward by a different party, but it's interesting that they accepted it, so
Yeah.
we'll see where that goes, and if anything comes of it, we'll keep you
Yeah.
updated.
I gather Pete Marlon said it's his last budget or something.
Penultimate, yeah, so-
budget, stepping down.
Yes, that means 2026, I think he'll go in the all-out elections, but we'll see.
Is there anything new on the boundary changes?
No,
No,
nothing, and it won't be. I mean, I think I did circulate, didn't I, both the Havisham and
Yeah.
New Bradwell responses, which were pretty much in line with ours. A staggering silence from Hanslow
on the
ward boundary changes.
I was thought that they were going to be submitting a response.
Well, I mean, I was copying Andrew Geary and I think Dorothy Cortman in, because I wasn't sure who was doing it, but I never had any response on it,
Right.
you know. And I'd have thought, you know, they might have just said, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, because I was at their parish council meeting last month and they were discussing your submissions, so.
Yeah. Well, that's because I copied
Yeah,
it to
yeah.
them.
So I assumed that they were submitting something as well,
Yeah.
but.
Oh, well.
I'm sure that they haven't replied to you.
Yeah. Well, of course, they're almost urban themselves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Let's shuffle back.
Right, that's it. Okay, thank you. Right, clubhouse then, or the pavilion. As you all know, most of you know, it opened on the 1st of March and was a huge success. We've got an official opening on the 22nd with the new local MP, Chris Curtis, coming along. And we've got some music and things put on. All very good. I think it was so successful at the weekend, it actually drank the place dry. And ate the place. I don't know how you eat. You don't eat it wet, whatever. So they actually had to take a break today to reconstitute everything. So that's a fantastic reaction, and I'm not a great Facebook watcher, but I gather all the comments are very positive.
Comments, yeah.
I'm going to strike a slightly sour note, which is that Claire has been working on temporary event notices while she waits for her full licensing permission to come through. And I regret to say that there are about 5 households in Thrupp which have actually put objections in. I am hoping that they will reconsider, given that I mean, you can only complain on certain grounds. Basically, it's the one that would be applicable is public nuisance, so noise, traffic, and parking. And it really is quite astounding that virtually no noise comes out of the pavilion at all when the door is shut, and the door has got a very strong closer on it, so it is shut. There's just background noise from the outside, a little bit from the kids running around, but then it is a recreation ground.
Exactly.
And Steve was on the parking, and there was actually the football were marshalled into the overflow area, and there were only a very few number of cars in the main parking area, very few. Certainly was nowhere near full, so parking wasn't an issue. And I gather from the residents that speeding wasn't, they were worried about speeding. They wanted the sitters, you know, putting down there, and speeding wasn't a perceived problem either. So I am hoping, and this is kind of an appeal, because it's just going to make life really hard for Claire if she's got to go to a hearing and defend her opening hours. And incidentally, you know, it's always been open until 11 o'clock from the very first planning permission submission that we put in. That is going to make life hard for her, and if an objection is upheld, then it may actually impact the viability of the business, which would be just a body blow, really.
On the noise front, I was there quite a lot on Saturday, and I left at just before 9 o'clock, where it was absolutely jam-packed, very noisy inside. I went out through the door, closed it, and you could hear nothing at all.
You could,
No, not a sound.
I mean, all I could hear where I am is in the back garden. I could hear a little bit of noise of children playing,
Yeah.
and after sunset, no noise at all.
yeah.
Well, in fact, significantly before sunset.
And as I say, you know, children playing is what recreation grounds. There you go. So I would appeal to those who have objected, if you are watching or you know who it is, please to ask them to withdraw, because it will make life very difficult for Claire and by consequence for the rest of us. Anyway, on to happier sides of this. You know, the parish council effectively handed this over to Castlethorpe Community Space several months ago. Community Space is now, as of Saturday, handed over to Claire. But the Castlethorpe Community Space did have to raise quite a lot of money for the fit outside, and it did raise about £10,000 in donations, mostly from residents. And I think it made a huge difference. And those of you that have been in there, you can see how nicely it's been finished and furnished. And a very big thank you from both CCS and the Parish Council, and I'm sure from Claire, for your generosity. It really did make a big difference. The Community Interest Company is owned by its members, so there are no shareholders as such, and any surplus is going to be reinvested either into the clubhouse, or it can be used for slightly wider purposes in the community, but only for that. We've now got, I think, what did I say, 467 members, which, given our electorate is only 843, and this is a jest I have already rehearsed with Liam, it actually shows there's a better turnout for membership at the Pavilion than there were in the recent Ward Councillor elections. But there you go. So, you know, it's been a long time. I can still remember 8 years ago when Steve and I sat down to negotiate the S106, which was the first building block in getting this done. You know, we started 3 years ago. We're trying to sort out all the various permissions on the sports ground side, and then for the last 2 years, it's really been almost all consuming. So I would like to, as I wrote in Castlethorpe News, because I think with the project now being complete, this is the final main update. I mean, there may be odds and ends that I report at future meetings, but this is the final main update. So I would like to pay tribute to the team, Lawrence Chapman, who's now chair of Community Space, Steve, Gordon Fleming, this is the alphabetical order, Russell, Ian Horn and Luke Jeffries, with support from Dan McGee and Bridget Richards, and of course from everyone in the village for their moral and in some case financial support. So let's just relax now and enjoy the Pavilion. So are there any questions about the Pavilion that I can answer? Happy to do that.
Just the objections, what's the process?
You're right. You'll see there's a blue notice on the gate. You can write letters of support as well. I mean, the Parish Council at its last meeting, was it last meeting? Yeah. Wrote a letter of support, which was well received by the licensing officer. But you basically email to them the address on that blue bit of paper. I can't remember offhand what it is, but it'd be something like licensing of Milton Keynes Council.
Do you remember what the deadline is?
And the deadline is coming Friday the 10th.
By the person play Friday.
Yeah. So it does have to be in by then. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to support the application is the support of the applications for licenses, isn't it?
Yes, that's a good point, Steve. Yeah, if anyone wants to write a note of support. And I mean, I do understand the anxiety that people in that part of Thrupp Close would have. You've got, you know, potentially extra traffic coming past you. I understand that would be a concern. But, you know, I have done the calculations. We did put the SID up even, you know, in the past to see what the average speeds were. You know, we did measure the parking. We did relate that to the number of places inside. You know, it really will not be a problem. And I think actually the two big events that we've had so far, the reception that we held last Tuesday and the first day opening when the place was absolutely rammed, just demonstrate that it is not going to be a problem in practice. And so I would really ask people not to proceed with that. And for everyone else to give their support, and especially those residents in that part of Thrupp. Right, are we? Let's move on then to 5.1, which is the planning application. This is the Furtho Pits, the building of 9 employment units. Now, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this, but it's what I would normally call a snow job. You know, there are literally hundreds of entries on the West Northants website for this application, hundreds. Most of them are quite old, except for the new plans, you know, drawings and so on that they put in. There are 3, I spotted 3, there may be more, because as I say, there are just so many documents, it's really hard to spot them. There are 3 documents which on biodiversity, arborology, trees, and flooding, which are new documents and say we've had a look at this and it's all right. Commissioned by the developer, of course. I'm happy to open this up if anyone's got any comments that based on the new information on there, because we have already objected on the basis of the old one, so we put 2 objections in. I personally don't feel confident. It's just too much material to go through for me. One of the documents is a spreadsheet, the biodiversity one, I think it is. It's a huge spreadsheet. So I would really, I don't know when we have to respond by, but I would personally like to defer this and see if somebody else can.
There was a pressure group that was actually advising.
Yeah, stop
At one point. So
Yeah.
can we maybe take?
Yeah, I mean, I
take
think
a position from that.
yeah, well, I imagine they probably haven't had time yet to absorb all this and produce a new commentary.
Again, I don't know whether there are any deadlines that we need to meet or.
Well, I don't know. With these very big applications, you normally get a
No
bigger time to respond than for a normal planning application.
I mean, the application has
have to
been in
reassess-
for ages.
Sorry.
Sorry, the application's actually been in for ages.
Yes, indeed.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
So-
we've not been to committee.
No,
No.
To committee. No, but we've actually made our.
We have, yeah.
haven't
We have, yeah.
Do we have to re-input them because of this new application?
Well, I mean, I'd need some advice on that.
Yeah.
I mean, given that the only new documents I could see, which is, you know, I
Were those
repeat,
three
it's not to
documents?
say that they are the only new
Yeah,
documents, were about things which, you know, I don't think we would necessarily.
we've got a meeting this Wednesday and that'll come out our parish council. Only
Yeah.
one come back to you.
I think it's the 30th of March. It was the 15th, they've extended it to the 30th.
March.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Well, I honestly, unless anyone else has read this lot and can make a suggested comment.
I mean, if it's saying that you're hearing it and you'll drop us a line.
I'll see what.
Yeah.
We got parish council meeting on Wednesday after we
Then there may be an extraordinary meeting if any Senseless.
Well, we could do, I mean, the other thing we could just do is we would just say, taking Dave's point, that the council has previously considered this. It objects. It notes the new documents that are being posted in the folder and wishes to confirm its continuing objection.
But there might be things in those new documents that alter our position or worthy of extra comment.
Well, it won't, because the developers.
I mean, they almost certainly will.
So, yeah, objects still there.
So that's saying.
One thing that I'm still maintaining is that this will mean no extra traffic on the A508. And the Environment Agency report says there will be substantial increase in traffic.
Yeah.
And that's something that we also said in our.
Yeah.
My suggestion is to wait to get the outcome of Cosgrove and then review it then, and if we feel the need then, because it's a massive issue.
Yeah.
And it's important that we do get as much.
Yeah.
Would your clerk be prepared to let Jackie know what the outcome of the discussion is, and then Jackie can circulate it? I think,
I'd like Jenny and I.
Yeah, like,
yeah, and I would, but unless there is something substantive on that we would add.
Yeah.
Is the council happy with the form of words, which I'm not sure if Jackie got all of it down or not, but
It's not to, that we previously objected to this application, we made some additional papers and we still hold.
yeah, we wish to confirm our continuing objection.
And Russell's point, is it worth re-emphasising the?
well,
Yeah.
we've already made that.
Yeah, but
That's still maintaining.
Yeah. And we particularly object to the increase of traffic on the A5, the concomitant increase in traffic on the A508.
That will undoubtedly occur.
Yeah.
There's also going to be an extra roundabout as well, which of course.
You know, I couldn't see the roundabout showing on the drawing.
Apparently it says so now, remember.
Hey, when you get a roundabout on it, the big building is that big. The big building rests against the land that we own, and it's right against the fence,
Yeah.
and there's no room to get a roundabout in. And that big building is the crucial thing they must have. Because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, look, shall we leave it like that?
Yeah,
Jackie's
yeah.
got a former set of words. We'll wait until we hear from Cosgrove Parish
Yeah.
Council. Jenny will circulate that. We'll either, we can either then have an extraordinary meeting to discuss it, or we'll go with the form of words that I think we've all just wordsmithed into a statement, yeah?
Yeah.
We're okay with that, agree? Okay.
Yes, thank you, that was this morning, we definitely don't want it that one.
Okay, let's move on then. Just mentioned 6.1, the parking provision, cycle parking provision that we made, quite right. It has actually, we have put some in actually today as it happened. So that will be resubmitted. And the others, anything else in numbers in section 6 that anyone wants to raise? No?
There was a decision 57 for us, isn't
Yeah. That's in the
It was
agenda,
rejected.
it's not-
there?
Yeah.
Rejected. That came in, what was it now?
In that case, move to section 7. I move to agree upon the excluded part 2 to the meeting. This is to consider 2 quotes that we've got, and one for the dog bin waste contractor and the other for notice boards outside the village hall. So I propose that need a seconder, which is Steve, in favour. Thank you. Right, 7.2, to give an update on the community electric minibus service. Russell?
If you remember from the last meeting last month, this is at a very early stage, but it's Milton Keynes Council under this suggestion, it's not even a plan yet, would provide an electric minibus to parish councils to operate local services, on-demand services, for which fares will be paid, and they would operate under a special license. I forgot what the number is, section 22. I contacted Hanslope Parish Council and Havisham Parish Council. It was debated at the Havisham meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they are in favour of it. They would like to do it, and they've also had some interest from other local parish councils as well. So I suggest that we go in with those. I've heard absolutely nothing at all from Hanslope, so maybe you could ask Alison about it.
Yeah.
Because it would seem more logical for them to be in with us. That's as far as it is at the moment.
Okay.
So what are we just approving the concept? Because obviously there's.
Well, we can't do much more. Not even a plan yet. It's only an embryo.
It's just a watching brief, really, isn't it?
Okay, well, nothing to be lost from.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. We'll watch this space. Right, 7.3. I put a little note on the file just to so you can actually see what I meant about it. Basically, Liam, I don't know if you've been able to see this. There's a street light attached to the school gable end. It's been maintained by MKCC for the last 40 years, every time a bulb goes or whatever.
Yeah.
The resident who lives opposite reported it a few weeks ago, and they said, not our street light. Now, and she said, well, anyway, she's pushed it. Did you actually raise this with Rachel Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did she say?
Yeah, it's not there.
They say not there. Now, this has been there for so long, and it's been maintained by them for so long, that really, I mean,
I think they have got us right, something don't they?
yeah, whatever the term is. Now, the point I'm really making is the resident is quite clear that she reported it to Milton Keynes Council and they repaired it. Milton Keynes Council say it's not theirs, but I know there are many streetlights in Castlethorpe alone which aren't on the database. I mean, to the point when we were doing our streetlight project, I had to walk around and count them because it just didn't tally at all. And I know that the lights in Foxcover Lane are still not on the database. And I was told years and years ago, I think about 10 years ago, certainly when Duncan Sharkey, I don't know if anyone here remembers, and we had problems with the lanterns blowing off, and they weren't on the database. He said, oh, we're about to get a new database. It was 10 years ago, and they'll be on that. Well, 10 years, but anyway, a couple of weeks ago, the new database was announced, GIS or whatever, and it's not on there. Okay. So I don't trust Milton Keynes record keeper. Is this something that you could take up?
I could raise it. So it's the one on the school, and then every light on
Foxcover Lane, it's not actually on the database. I mean, honestly, it's too hard to go around and try and map all the others, particularly as the database is sufficiently imprecise that you can't actually tell where a street light is meant to be. You get a blob. But the blob actually isn't where the street light is.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
You obviously know this from
Yeah,
trying
I
to
want
report.
those signs.
Yeah.
Signs, there's really.
Yeah. But you've got the photograph there, and
So you're not going to try to make it a lantern at the same time?
well, I mean, the point is, it's very dark at School Lane on that bit. There's one further down.
Yeah.
And if they say, well, that's not ours, I personally think they'll put one in. Because
Rachel's response was it would be unusual for us to maintain a light these days that is attached to a private property, as would have access issues. Where there have been lights on buildings, we've normally installed a light column nearby instead and would disconnect the old light.
and that's fair enough. If they want to do that,
Yeah.
that is fair
If they
enough.
haven't, then
I think the school there used to be a council property.
Well, school is a council.
Yeah.
Private property. Right, it does belong to Milton Keynes Council.
Council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much, Liam, for taking that one up. I hope the resident in particular is watching and has seen that. Right, shall we move on to 7.4 then, which is move part of the beech hedge outside the cricket pavilion to improve viewing for cricket. Steve, would you like to speak on that?
That was the request from David Spinelli of the cricket club, saying that he wants about 2 metres of the hedge removed, so that you can see the wicket from inside the fencing of the cricket club, the pavilion. I mean, we haven't got cost as yet, but this is down here purely to approve or disapprove the concept of cutting the hedge back. And the hedge will have to be taken out by the roots, obviously, and it'll have to be cut back. But I think when we've considered this in the past, we've been very, very pro hedge and pro wildlife. And but David does say it is a bit of an inconvenience not being able to see the wicket from.
Yeah.
Are we actually allowed to touch the hedge at the moment?
Well, it's coming to the start of the bird's nest season, so I think at the moment, as long as we have a look and make sure there are no birds nesting in the immediate surround of where we can do the work, we'll be all right. But
I think it's
mentioned won't be able to.
Birds around like this nest in it, and
What that's not really a nesting hedge. is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand his point. I think it's, I had to go up to the Michael Lever this morning, and Jackie and I were looking at the bench, and the reality is that where the bench has been located, if it had been moved a few feet further along, we wouldn't have to worry about the hedge. But they put, we put down the concrete slab, presumably at their request.
Oh, right,
And it's effectively part, the hedge causes part of the outfield to be unsighted. In that line, if it had been moved a few feet further up, it would have been all right. I'm almost inclined to to move the bench. Jackie also did make a comment today. This won't be cheap, because it will have to be dug out. And if cricket actually want it, perhaps we should say, well, cricket pay for it.
I think maybe we should get a quote to see how much it costs.
Yeah.
But I'd want us to replant the hedge somewhere else
Well,
if we can.
yeah, it's very difficult to know quite where.
Yeah.
The other
It's
thing
quite
about
hard
that
to get
hedge,
and I'm worried that it's going to pull the path off because those roots.
Yeah.
From getting that little shrub
Good
out,
point.
took out the roots much deeper than we thought.
Don't know whether do you think Charlie could give us good enough advice on that. He'd probably know.
Asking.
We could
it
ask.
might be Charlie or might be Michael.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
probably too big a job for Charlie.
Yeah, it's probably one for Michael, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's yeah.
Yeah. Well, shall we for the moment go to Michael and ask him for his opinion?
Yeah. I mean, in all seriousness, as Jackie pointed out, it might be cheaper and more ecological, but just put another concrete base a bit further up, and even if we were to buy another bench and put it in there.
Well, let's get David Spinelli, Michael, self and yourself, and we'll have a general chat about it.
Yeah. I have to say, I do rather incline to accept the point that Jackie made, that this isn't really something for us.
Yeah, I think
the cricket thing.
I think cricket club should maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
make a big
yeah.
contribution.
Yeah, not sure about it, they should, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right.
And of course, that's virtually not going to happen for this season, because it will be birds nest season by the time we.
Well, that's right. Yes, I mean it's
So,
pretty much all.
But that's where we are.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Let's move on to the RFO payment schedule. this, the only thing that caught my eye in here was, do we pay Marcus annually in arrears?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's strange. And Michael leaving, I mean, I did, and this does lead in to a kind of general point. This, and something Jackie mentioned to me when we were talking about our finances, you know, we have still got the 50,000 bond untouched. We have still got the PWLB loan, which we haven't drawn down. Yeah. But we have about 10,500 in our accounts at the moment until we get the next bit of money in mid-April.
We haven't.
And then we're spending £7,000 of that.
You've still got the 50,000 bond.
Not bond, deposit.
Right.
It's in a deposit account.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, no.
I thought we did.
No, it wasn't. No, we cashed the bond in.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it was loose language, I misspoke. It's the 50,000 in the CCLA deposit account,
right.
which earns, I think, quite a good rate of
About
interest.
200,000.
Yeah, yeah, so it's worth keeping that there as long as possible.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, it would be nice if we could try and manage through without drawing that down.
Yeah.
Is that on, is that after the big invoice that we've yet to receive arrives?
No. Once that arrives, we will have to draw down the bond and we'll have to, we'll have to draw down some of the loan. We'll have to take some money out. I mean, what we've said is we'd take up to 30,000 out of that to leave us with the 20,000 minimum contingency. So, yeah, if we didn't need it, we would.
But the loan's been extended for another year.
Okay.
Yes, it's
And we've heard nothing about the big invoice.
no.
It'll be that way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gone off the database.
They can make that inefficient, surely.
Yeah, certainly.
It'll last been 2 years.
Yeah. Anyway, just looking through the rest of the schedule, I think this is all pretty straightforward, isn't it? Any questions? In that case, I'll move to propose that we accept it. Darren is seconding and we're all in favour. Got a couple of sign there. Then you've got this email while we're signing that. There's this email from the volunteering offer. For okay. So this is, as I remember, the volunteers to do a day's work. Yeah. Someone there.
Going back to the page, so the Bank of Ireland, it's been a good year now, it's gone in London Hills, so I think. Shall I close that now?
Can we just wait
Till,
until we've got our preset?
we have had 2 preset going to them. But yeah, I can. It's true.
Are we okay with that? That Jackie closes the Bank of Ireland?
If we've had 2 lots of precept into it, then we can get precept into it,
Yes.
into a new
It's not
account.
good. I don't
Yeah.
think it's
And there's been no other transactions. Okay.
definitely not.
Yeah.
Did you get,
142,000.
did you get Liam's money into it, the Ward Councillors' money into that
I didn't get
the new
any.
account?
We didn't get any. It went to CCS.
Right. Good.
Mhm.
Are there any volunteering opportunities that you can think of?
It's for one day, for how many people?
Well, they say 8 to 10.
There's probably a team, I went, we used to do it now at Rail, so there's a team that used to get 3 volunteer days a year, they go out and do things, so I assume they're just asking, is there any requirement in the village to go and do something for us?
Well, off the back of
Caves,
caves,
yeah.
Caves, yeah.
Picking up this.
litter picking
Yeah,
or sign cleaning or something.
Well,
yeah.
I'd rather they didn't do sign cleaning because that's a public highway.
Yeah.
It's quite
Yeah, it probably cost millions to have a proper road colours you put up, wouldn't it? To allow us to clear sign.
How about having a go at dropping wildflower seed in the what's the name area?
Well,
Wildlife area again.
It's not really a full day's job, is it?
Oh, yeah, it would, but it's a big area. You'd have to scrape the ground a little bit. You know how you do it. You want the ground scraped a bit, when the seeds there.
Yeah. Yeah, you,
what would they supply the seeds?
No,
No, we supply seeds.
I see.
I mean, in all seriousness, I think we, unless we're going to start drawing some down on that CCLA account, deposit account, we are pretty much spent out now until the precept arrives.
Okay.
Yeah.
just, I mean, not really, is it? Who's going to supervise them and tell them what to do, and check it
But
afterwards?
I think they can supervise, don't they?
I imagine so.
The chartered accountants, Dave, they can.
Yeah,
Give me
well,
right.
yeah, fair enough.
Tins of beer.
We could ask them how
So they're not
much,
going to be picking litter up then, are they?
no. If there's a monetary value behind it,
Yeah,
work it all out.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, I think what we could do is just thank them and say, you know, perhaps we could come back to them.
Yeah.
If, you know, if an opportunity arises, but just, I mean, as you say, there is a picking on Sustrans track. I don't know how Kay is going to get on with that, though she seemed to be inclined to be going down herself.
Kate supervise.
Yeah.
Very well.
So it's quite far down, so I mean, it's all right picking it up and carrying it
It's
back.
bringing it back, that's the thing, isn't it?
It's not like near the water tower. It's
Give it to the, give it to the nail area.
But they would drive down to Lodge Farm.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing, isn't it? I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, let's just say we'll think on it, and if an opportunity arises. Any other business?
Tennis court locks. I mean, if you notice that the tennis courts were open.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were.
Saturday and Monday.
Yeah.
Which
What has actually happened is that the tennis court lock has been broken.
Yeah.
It is, as I understand it, Bill Johnson's intending to put a padlock on that for the new membership season, which is just about to start. It is now covered by CCTV. So hopefully if anyone does go out to break those locks, they will be spotted, and the tennis courts are used quite often now. Yeah.
Were the CCTV assumed it was in place when the lock got broken?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I didn't realise they were broken.
Yes. Lots
Right,
of
okay.
cleared some stones yesterday, but these are good tidy up.
Yeah.
And then just out of interest, I suppose, the benches that people were talking about, additional benches at the pavilion, is that something that would come to us, or would that be back on Cllr and
What, we want even more benches there?
well, people, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there was a lot of people out, I mean,
Yeah.
it's only gonna get hotter.
I was outside.
We-
all
yeah.
the benches were in use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
even, I don't, you know.
How many did we
two or
ask
three.
for in the?
I can't remember what grant we asked for in the grant actually, or did we cut them?
That'd been three in a bit.
Yeah.
So it might be,
They're-
but something that's
disabled
for the fish.
ones,
bowl, isn't it?
I mean, there's two sides to this, isn't there? I
Yeah.
mean, how many people do you want outside?
Mm,
I know it's summer's coming and that's where people are going to want to be,
Yeah,
but do you want hundreds of people drinking outside the pavilion?
not hundreds.
Well, I mean, there probably will be there, and it's just they'll sit on the grass if
That's right.
they've not got a bench. I mean, I do actually think that Saturday, you know, we were blessed with good weather,
Is one.
and I think it was a one-off.
Yeah.
I'd rather, certainly before spending money, I would like to see how it goes. There are a couple of cricket benches which might get pressed into use. We may have a couple of benches come along that we might use as well.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the matter of Saturday, the stepper is a bit squeaky, and the guy there said that he was going to bring some WD-40 over and do it, but I don't know whether he did.
Was that Matt?
One of the exercise machines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Malloy now works for WD-40, so.
It might well have been in
Yeah, so he
But,
It's now a leading component of it.
there. But if,
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, funnily enough, one of the things I perhaps would like us to consider when we get some more money, later in the year, is having a general service of those machines. Because they've been there a few years now. Even if it's only, how on each machine there's an instruction pad that you're meant to be able to see how to use it. I mean, those are worn away, they're weathered. So just it's not bad, and they're all working. And thanks to Jackie, who replaced one of the footpads that came on. But it doesn't need much. But I think
it was very popular with the kids,
I know.
and the climbing frame wasn't.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I thought.
Our kids are on both, so.
Sorry, last question.
Yeah.
VE Day, which
Yeah.
is the 8th of May, we're going to do a beacon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here,
Right.
and neither is Lawrence.
Doesn't sound like a beacon then, does it?
No,
Sounds like a torch.
Having said that, I mean, I think dear, it's only a couple of months away, isn't it?
I mean, the beacon's out the back, ready to go.
Yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, and we did tell the neighbours in front that there would be some events, and I specifically mentioned the VE Day. I had expected that would move, that kind of event would move up to the sports ground.
Yeah.
Because people get a drink. I mean, I still feel the last big one we had was at the coronation, where we lit the beacon, but no one would organise anything inside. As we said, the parish council isn't actually the village entertainment society. It's,
No, I agree, but you've actually got the
but we've
facility.
now got a
Yeah.
the pavilion club bar up there, and that's a logical place for it to go, really. But I don't know. Is there somebody else other than?
Well, I think, I mean, the people to go to probably the Christmas lights type people, and see if there's anyone there who's willing to do it.
Yeah. I mean, there are one or two individuals that I could think of in the PCS, not you. I don't know why I think you're one of our other colleagues. I'm sure we're very willing to do it, but I hope it wouldn't turn the place down. Anyway, if you could, if we need to think about that. Any other?
Yeah, our PCS Tilly's given us just released the crime figures.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to raise that myself.
Yeah. There are 2 burglaries, sheds and garages, one offensive weapon, 1 theft and 1 robbery, and 1 suspicious vehicle. In the next month up to the middle of February.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's the same, but I mean, I'm very sad to say that there are some people who've come into the village now who are not behaving well, and indeed have used weapons, and this has gone to the police, and I think I'd like to wait to hear what the outcome of that is, but I mean, the parish council may need to write to MKCC Housing about the inappropriateness of some of this, because it's really not acceptable behaviour.
Wow. Where?
No, I can't tell you. But I think it's probably what this is about. Anyway, there we are. So certainly the message is, please be alert, and Tilly has sent out some supplementary documentation on, you know, shed safety, how you keep your shed secure. And I do know personally somebody who scared somebody off from going to the shed. It's basically people who are going around trying to steal in order to feed habits, basically, and including threatening behaviour. So it's very, very sad, because I can't remember in my 40-odd years that's ever happened before. But there we are. Right.
Can I just say, do we want to enter best kept village? That's come through today.
Well,
I saw that on the.
I put it on the
frame
paper
sheet.
just in case, but I thought that just double check.
Oh, we always give it.
Yeah, good to go.
Get the volunteers round, they can
I don't
take
think,
the
I
place.
don't think we can win the category again.
Well, yeah, we can, because it's been,
Yeah, last year was our fellow year.
yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So we're back in the.
Back in the
size
world,
village.
yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to afford some new notice boards. We've got a clubhouse. That would be good.
What's the date range in which the
June, July.
It's June, July.
Yeah. Okay,
So is it worth arranging a letter pick or anything like that?
well.
Well, given we don't know when they're coming out.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see how all that goes. Right, next meeting is the 7th of April. Now, once again, I've got a personal embarrassment in, well, it's going to happen because of the way school holidays fall, but we go away with the family sort of in that school holiday period. And the way Easter is falling, that would include that day. Now, for an ordinary parish council meeting, that doesn't, we have, you know, Russell would chair, but it is also normally our annual parish meeting. However, last year,
Isn't that now?
well, that's the annual meeting of the council.
Oh, sorry.
Last year, we actually did defer it for a month because the annual parish meeting has become much more of a formality now. Basically, it is the chair's report to the village, and there's usually one or two other people who come and speak. I mean, I said I wasn't prepared to read out other people's reports now, because, you know, yeah, I can't answer any questions basically. So I can come back for the meeting if we want to hold it on the 7th. You know, I'm prepared to do that because I don't expect the village to change its thoughts, or we could move it to May, just depending on what you guys think, really.
I think deferral.
Yeah, I mean, we're still within
Yeah,
time scale.
yeah, we can do it until June actually.
So it doesn't take long now, I don't think.
No, it doesn't. No. I mean, it's just we have the usual stuff in May anyhow, but we don't have
Yeah,
elections.
it's a longer meeting in May. But
Yeah, not that long, hopefully. All right, well, thank you for that. That made my life a little easier.
So the parish council meeting will be on the 7th of April, but you'll be.
I'll be away, yeah.
So that's you.
Much the chair, yeah.
An hour of glory.
Yeah.
Now, you do it in an hour.
Yeah.
You usually will be very quick. Yeah, vice chairs normally get through these now in 40 minutes. Right, okay, in that case, I'll declare this meeting, part 1 closed then at 20:33. So thank you very much, everyone who's stayed with us. And we'll see you, not me, but we will see you in April. I'll now switch off the live stream.